Hey guys, my name is Diana Garcia. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, owner of a private practice in Florida called Nurturing Minds Counseling. Okay, so for today's video, I'm going to talk about when comparison becomes a trap. So to start off with, when I'm talking about comparison, it's pretty obvious in terms of when you decide to judge or evaluate yourself against someone else. And when I say someone else, that can be someone that you know personally, that can be an acquaintance, that can be, they're not that close. They can also be someone on Instagram or social media that maybe you don't know, whether that's a celebrity or an influencer or whatnot. You can also judge yourself or compare yourself to an ideal version of yourself, as well as maybe to past versions of yourself, okay? So it's just when you evaluate who you are, what you're doing or not doing to one of these versions, right? Real or imagined. And so initially when I was thinking about the content for this video, I think automatically when we think of comparison, the automatic association is bad, negative. Like you shouldn't compare yourself to anyone or anything. And I had to really kind of stop myself and say, but wait, comparison isn't always bad. I think it's really shifting into when comparison isn't working for you. So when it is a trap, right? So how do you know the difference? So first, the big part is step one is noticing when you are comparing yourself, right? So very simply notice when you are having these thoughts that you're less than or better than, right? Because again, you can also compare yourself to others and find yourself more favorable. Although a lot of times I find that most of my clients tend to do the opposite. They compare themselves and find themselves lacking. But either way, so when you're noticing your thoughts of, oh, I'm better or worse than X, Y, and Z, and then how that impacts how you feel as well as what you want to do. And so that's just kind of the first step in noticing you're in comparison mode. The second piece, though, is to ask yourself, is it working for you? So for instance, if I compare myself to someone, let's say on Instagram, but that motivates me, encourages me, doesn't make me feel bad about myself. It just kind of makes me say, wow, that's something that I really want. So yeah, let me move forward. Let me change my behavior in order to do that or continue my behavior, right? So in that instance, maybe the comparison is fine, right? Because it's not hurting me in any way, shape, or form, okay? The other piece though, and in that instance, you really don't have to change anything because you're not stuck in a comparison trap. You're just comparing yourself, but the results are okay. The next part would be though, let's say the answer to that question is that, you're comparing yourself, but is it working? And it's not working for you because you notice that there has been a shift in how you feel about yourself, right? That you're not feeling so good. That maybe you were to start off with, but now after you've whether it's social media, you've talked to a friend, family, whatever, that now you're feeling really worse about yourself and doubting yourself and not feeling good and having all these thoughts of, oh, they're so much better. So, and then that can just open the floodgates of your mind going into all these reasons why you're not good enough, right? And then that kind of shifts your motivation and you don't really feel good about yourself. So in that instance, and you don't do the things that you would have normally wanted to do. That comparison, now you're stuck in that comparison trap because now it's not working for you, right? You're comparing yourself, finding yourself lacking, and it's not working for you because it's shifting how you think about yourself, your feelings, and it's also impacting your behaviors, right? It's not motivating you. It's kind of almost keeping you stuck or moving backwards. So really kind of concrete, maybe meta example of this is actually when I was thinking about, the content for this video, I found myself getting into comparison mode, right? Oh, I don't have maybe the slides, the knowledge, the equipment, whatever, right? Or, maybe I should focus on something else, right? Like comparing myself to other people's content, right? And I found myself getting stuck and overthinking. And so in that instance, the comparison wasn't working for me, right? It was just keeping me stuck and not helping me move forward towards something that mattered to me. So if you find that, then the next part would be kind of the next question you can ask yourself is also kind of, okay, so I'm stuck in this comparison trap, but what are these uncomfortable thoughts and feelings telling me about what really matters to me? So a lot of times I'll tell clients it's kind of two sides of the same coin. So our pain points just kind of show what are our values and what matters to us. And so for instance, in my example, my meta example of, comparing myself, the other side of that, my values would be hey, it's important for me to share knowledge and to help, to be helpful, right? Regardless of what shows up for me, if I can help someone, then it's worth it, right? And to be competent, knowledgeable. And so in that instance, those pain points are showing me what matters to me. And then it made clear to me how I needed to move forward, right? Or at least what a behavior based on my values would look like. So same thing. So if you find yourself, comparing yourself to, let's say, someone's vacation in Hawaii, I mean, hey, those are all great. You usually always look fantastic. But maybe it's kind of indicating to you, like, maybe you want more breaks. Maybe you want just time for yourself. Maybe you do want a, great getaway, right? If you find yourself comparing to someone else's kind of being self-employed, maybe it's telling you that you're valuing or needing more autonomy in your job, right? Maybe you get micromanaged and you don't like that. Let's say you compare yourself to someone else's relationship. Maybe that's illuminating some type of concern in your relationship. So again, you can use these uncomfortable thoughts and feelings as a springboard to kind of be curious and say, okay, but what is this telling me about myself that really matters? And once I'm clear on what that value is, how can I make a decision that's going to move me forward towards that, right? So again, it's really shifting into that, these thoughts don't have to be good or bad. They can just really tell us something about ourselves if we can be really curious about what shows up. And I'm going to step back a little bit from evolutionary perspective, it is very normal to engage in comparison. It's one of the reasons that we've learned to survive, because we have, lived in tribes, and one way that we had to make sure that we survived was to, be part of the tribe, be accepted in the tribe. So that led us to constantly compare ourselves to others to make sure that we weren't going to get, ousted and left to starve, right? So on one hand, I also want to normalize that comparison is just part of our evolutionary history and makeup. And nowadays, though, it's so easy to engage in it because of the fact that we're so constantly exposed and bombarded to all types of social media. And typically, most people's social media has kind of the edited, glossed versions of their lives, right? So you're not getting, let's say, a true sense of their lives. And that's okay, right? I think, it is what it is. But just kind of noticing and recognize, though, even more so why you can get stuck in that comparison trap. All right, guys, so I hope this was helpful for you. And if you have any comments or questions, I encourage you to just comment on the video. I also encourage you to subscribe to my channel for more different thoughts and reviews on different mental health topics. And lastly, I encourage you to continue nurturing your mind, body, and soul, whatever that looks like and means to you. Alrighty, have a good one.